Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Janaranjana.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Janaranjana.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
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 Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He is the lover of the cowherd maidens of Raj, the holder of the great hill named Govardhan, the beloved son of Mother Jasoda, and the delighter of the inhabitants of Raj. He wanders in the forest along the banks of the river Jamuna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udirayat.
Todaya Udirayat.
Shunvatam Svakata Krishna.
Shambhatam Swagata Krishna.
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Punyata Swagata Kirtana.
Hridyanto Sto Yabhadrani.
Vidyante Yodharani.
Vidu Noti Saritsatam.
Vindonoti Saritsatam.
Nasta Preshu Bhadreshu.
Nasta Vareshu Bhageshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavata Shloke.
Bhagavate
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Please repeat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam,
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam,
which is the very means of conquest,
which is the very means of conquest,
one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan.
one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayan.
The Narayan Rishi,
Narayan,
the supermost human being,
the supermost human being,
and to the Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning,
to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning,
and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead,
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead,
who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart,
who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart,
and the benefactor of the truthful devotee,
and the benefactor of the truthful devotee,
cleanses desire for material enjoyment
cleanses desire for material enjoyment
from the heart of the devotee,
from the heart of the devotee,
who has developed the urge to hear his messages,
who has developed the urge to hear his messages,
which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam,
By regular attendance to class of the Bhagavatam,
by the rendering of service to the pure devotee,
by the regular service of the pure devotee,
all that is troublesome to the heart
all that is troublesome to the heart
is almost completely destroyed.
is almost completely destroyed.
In loving service unto the personality of Godhead,
And living service to the personality of Godhead,
who is praised with transcendental songs,
who is praised and transcendental sound,
is established as an irrevocable fact.
is established as an irrevocable fact.
Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the second canto, chapter 8, and it's text number 9. Of course, yesterday wires got crossed somehow, and I was informed that it was text number 8, but now today I found out it's text number 9. So please bear with me, please forgive me. I try to be on point with whichever text we're with, but I actually studied for text 8, so sorry about that. Please repeat. Ajaha Shri Jati Bhutani Ajaha Shri Jati Bhutani Bhutatma Yad Anugrahat Bhutatma Yad Anugrahat Dadrishi Yena Tad Rupam Dadrishe Yena Tad Rupam Dadrishe Yena Tad Rupam Nabi Padma Smamud Bhavaha Nabi Padma Samudbhavaha Nabi Padma Samudbhavaha Ajaha Shri Jati Bhutani Bhutatma Yad Anugraha Dadrishena Tarupam Nabi Padma Samadbhava Aja Shri Jati Bhutani Bhutatma Yad Anugraha Dadrishe Yena Tad Rupam Nabi Padma Samudbhava
Ajashrajati Bhutani Bhutatma Yad Anugraha Adrishayena Tadrupam Nabi Padma Samudbhava
Ajashrajati Bhutani Bhutatma Yad Anugraha Adrishayena
Tat Rupam,
Navi Padma Samudbhava,
Navi Padma Samudbhava,
Aja Shri Jati Bhutani,
Aja Shri Jati Bhutani,
Bhutatmaya Anugraha,
Bhutatmaya Anugraha,
Tatre Sangena Tatrupam,
Dadrishena Tatrupam,
Navi Padma Samudbhava,
Navi Padma Samudbhava,
Aja Shri Bhutani,
Aja Shri Bhutani,
Bhutatmaya Anugraha,
Bhutatmaya Anugraha,
Dadrishena Tatrupam,
Dadrishena Tatrupam,
Navi Padma Samudbhava,
Navi Padma Samudbhava,
and one time.
Aja Shri Jati Bhutani,
Aja Shri Jati Bhutani,
Bhutatmaya Anugraha,
Bhutatmaya Anugraha,
Dadrishena Tatrupam,
Drashena Tatrupam,
Navi Padma Samudbhava.
Navi Padma Samudbhava.
Please repeat. Ajaha, one who is born without a material source.
One who is born without material source.
Shrijati,
Shrijati,
creates.
yes.
Bhutani,
Bhutani,
all those materially born.
all those materially born.
Bhuta Atma,
Bhuta Atma,
having a body of matter.
having a body of matter.
Yat,
Yat,
whose.
whose,
Anugrahat,
Anugraha,
by the mercy of.
by the mercy of
Dadrishe,
God,
could see. Yena, by whom. Tat Rupam, his form of body. Nabi, navel. Padma, lotus flower. Samud Bhavaha, being born of. Translation, please repeat. Brahma, who was not born of the material source,
who is not born of a material source,
but of the lotus flower coming out of the navel,
but of the lotus flower coming out of the navel,
abdomen of the Lord,
abdomen of the Lord,
is the creator of all those
is the creator of all those
who are materially born.
who are materially born.
Of course,
By
by the grace of the Lord,
the grace of the Lord,
Brahma was able to see the form of the Lord.
Allah is able to see the form of the Lord.
I'll just repeat that. Translation. Brahma, who was not born of a material source, but of the lotus flower coming out of the navel, abdomen of the Lord, is the creator of all those who are materially born. Of course, by the grace of the Lord, Brahma was able to see the form of the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The first living creature, Brahma, is called Aja because he did not take his birth from the womb of a mother materially born. He was directly born from the bodily expansion of the lotus flower of the Lord. Thus, it is not readily understandable whether the body of the Lord and that of Brahma are of the same quality or different. This must also be clearly understood. One thing is, however, certain. Brahma was completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, because after his birth, he could create living beings by the Lord's grace only, and he could see the form of the Lord. Whether the form seen by Brahma is of the same quality as that of Brahma is a bewildering question. And Maharaj Parikshit wanted to get clear answers from Srila Sukadeva Goswami. The translation again. Brahma, who was not born of a material source, but of the lotus flower coming out of the navel, abdomen of the Lord, is the creator of all those who are materially born. Of course, by the grace of the Lord, Brahma was able to see the form of the Lord. Bless you, my Jesus. I'm reading from The Hidden Glory of India, page 74. Brahma, the first created being. According to the Puranas, the material cosmos begins with Brahma, a multi-headed demigod from the highest planet, Brahmaloka, in the cosmos. He is known as Pita Maha, the grandfather, as he is the first created being, as well as the original instructor, guru, of the sages. Vaishnavas consider Brahma to be the Lord's manifestation, guna avatar, who presides over the mode of passion. Brahma's passionate nature is put to work, and he is engaged in creation. Thus he is the creator god and the progenitor of mankind, as distinct from Vishnu, who is seen as the preserver and master of the mode of goodness, and Shiva, the destroyer, who presides over the mode of ignorance. In popular Hinduism, this triad of avatars, Trimurti, is viewed as merely diverse forms of one and the same God. However, a careful study reveals that Shiva and Brahma, demigods, are subservient to Vishnu for Krishna, the supreme God, Krishna, the supreme Godhead. Brahma's enlightenment is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 2:9. At the dawn of creation, he takes birth on a lotus that sprouts from the divine navel of Vishnu. Finding himself in a new world, Brahma is ignorant of both his own identity and the purpose of life. In an attempt to understand his origin, he climbs down the stem of the spiritual lotus, but finds no answer to his dilemma. Finally, he hears the voice of his Lord and Master Vishnu calling out two syllables, tapa, literally austerity or penance. These syllables are pregnant with meaning, and Brahma obeys by performing austerity in the form of meditation for 1,000 celestial years, parentheses, billions of earth years. At the end of this period, Brahma is able to see the Lord's abode and then the Supreme Lord himself. The Supreme recites for him the 4 seminal verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, verses which formulate the meaning of life. The purification that comes from hearing the Lord's voice allows Brahma to create the material universe. In his Brahma Samhita 5:24-29, where Brahma adds details to the Bhagavatam version of the story of his enlightenment. According to Brahma, at the beginning of time, he was engulfed in total darkness and is bewildered about his service as creator of the universe. At that time, Sarasvati, the divine consort of the Supreme Lord, appears before Brahma. She instructs him to meditate upon the confidential Kama Bija mantra, promising that by its recitation, he will receive all that he needs. After meditating on this mantra for 100 celestial years, Brahma hears the sound of Krishna's flute. He tries to reproduce the sound with his own lips, but instead finds that he is uttering the esoteric Kama Gayatri mantra. This mantra purifies him of all illusion, and he is able to proceed with his service of creating the material universes on Krishna's behalf. Brahma begins each day by meditating on the Supreme Lord. He prays that he may engage in the Lord's service in the creation of the material world, and that he may not be materially affected by its works. For thus he may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:9-23. In other words, Brahma admits his dependence on the Lord. Thus, unlike many other demigods, Brahma is rarely mistaken for the Supreme. Thus, unlike many other demigods, Brahma is rarely mistaken for the Supreme. In other words, Brahma admits his dependence on the Lord. Thus, unlike many other demigods, Brahma is rarely mistaken for the Supreme. So it mentions Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. And Mother Saraswati is glorified in the oldest portions of the Vedic literature as wisdom personified. Her fame was spread to the Buddhist tradition, where she is depicted as the consort of Manjushri, the god of wisdom. The great Vaishnava text, Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4, proclaims that her name should be evoked before any recital of this seminal scripture. Clearly then, her position is special and is another indication of the accord given to the feminine in the Vaishnava tradition. As said in that first verse we recited, before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances in the personality of Godhead, Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Clearly then, her position is special, and is another indication of the accord given to the feminine in the Vaishnava tradition. The Puranas tell us that Saraswati incarnated both as Brahma's wife and as the sacred Saraswati river. When Brahma, the primeval created being, was bewildered about how to create the material universe, it was Mother Saraswati who came to his aid, Brahma Samhita 5:24-25. Giving him the Gayatri mantra, she told him that by meditating on it, all his desires would be fulfilled. He followed her advice, as mentioned earlier, and the material cosmos was born. Saraswati is depicted as clad in elegant white or red robes, sitting on a white lotus. In her hand she carries a book to symbolize learning. Japa beads, which, like the rosary in the West, are used to keep track of one's chanting, and a veena, a stringed instrument used in traditional Indian music. In the Rig Veda, Saraswati is related to the goddess of sound, Vak, and is often identified not only as the goddess of learning, but of music as well. Her mount is generally a swan, but sometimes a ram, an owl, a parrot, a lotus, or a peacock. She is the very essence of knowledge. Beauty, beautiful thoughts, mellifluously articulated, originate by her grace. She is the very essence of knowledge. Beautiful thoughts, mellifluously articulated, originate by her grace. So, beautiful thoughts, mellifluously articulated, originate by her grace. Yeah, we see that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sometimes somebody is empowered by Mother Saraswati and it just flows. She empowers them, The Mother Saraswati River. This is a different section. The famous Saraswati River flows through North India, and according to the Mahabharata Adi Parva 16:19, anyone who drinks her waters will become free from sin. Unfortunately, the river is not so easy to locate. Although thousands of years ago, during the time of the Rig Veda, people knew her exact location, today the river is invisible to mortal eyes. Unlike the Jamuna or the Ganges, the Saraswati cannot be found by scouting the North Indian holy rivers. Still, it is said that great yogis can see her if they go to the confluence of the three rivers at modern Allahabad. Geological evidence suggests that the Saraswati, known to geologists as the Gagar Haikra River, dried out around 1900 BCE. However, aerial infrared scanning reveals the course of the ancient river even today. Using these methods, geographers locate the mouth of the original Saraswati near the Ran of Kerch, adjacent to the Thar Desert. Thus, pilgrims can go and see where the holy river once quenched the thirst of self-realized souls. Here, I just want to mention that Lord Brahma, approaching him as a guru, Krishna says, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Talavana panipatena pariprasana savya upadekshanti tegana gyadina stapadashana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. It sounds so easy for us to do. It sounds so easy, but to find that qualified person, that's probably the hardest part. Unless Srila Prabhupada, the pure devotee comes, just like Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya came to save the most fallen first. So, I don't know if the hippies were the most fallen, but it just seemed like they were so attractive. And, one of the devotees, I think it was Bhagavatam, I believe, said that Prabhupada was saying that, and all of you are helping me, and you're helping me, and you're special. Well, but Bhavananda, I believe, said that, Srila Prabhupada, how can that be? We're the most fallen and everything, and how could we be, your helpers, and how could we be special or anything? He says that was only superficial. That was only superficial. As soon as you heard the Maha Mantra, you came running, So, just like, I'm sorry to do this now, and I hope nobody's offended, but, we all probably notice, we hear a little bit of mundane music throughout our lives, and we hear songs, and you think, that person sounds like he wants to become a devotee, So please forgive me, hope you'll forgive me. I don't do this very often. I know it's mundane, so if anybody wants me to stop, just tell me, I hope it's not offensive. And I just took out the smallest little bit of mundane song that has to do what I'm talking about. But, remember this song by it's Sledgehammer and Peter Gabriel? I kick the habit, which would be sex life and sense gratification. Shed my skin with your body. This is the new stuff. I go dancing in. It's Lord Chaitanya. In the spiritual world, like Krishna. And you see in so many songs, people realize that we're suffering in this material world. Here's a different song. I don't know who it's sung by, but here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. I made up my mind, I ain't wasting no more time to walk along the lonely street of dreams. So I made up my mind, not wasting any more time. I want to become a devotee. I want to waste more time in the material world. I want to do something that's real. And of course, this is fighting it against the wind, against material energy. Against the wind. We were young and strong, we were running against the wind. I was living to run and running to live. I found myself looking for shelter against the wind. And this is almost makes you feel like it's Krishna, you know. This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. In the spiritual world, Krishna didn't want us to leave. We left Krishna behind. He didn't give up on us. You know, we just turned our back on Krishna. We developed an urge not to serve Krishna, Prabhupada says. Anyway, please forgive me. I never do this, but and everyone knows this one. When I was a teenager, I hear the voices say, "Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more." I tried to rise above the noise and confusion, to escape this life of illusion. And even in Greece, I can't think of it right now, but even in Greece, such a famous movie and song, the Bee Gees sing, "This is a life of illusion, what are we doing here?" In the very song, Greece, the lyrics are right there. "This is a life of illusion, what are we doing here?" You know, it's actually in the lyrics. Well, anyway, that's just a small example. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because Krishna says, just try to learn the truth. And so many of us are searching, you know. And so many, I remember over the years we had so many different little temples, you know, in Radha Damodar would pop this one up for half a year or a year, then we leave it, you know, and pop another one up, another Cincinnati, Louisville, different places. And sometimes we get these bands that would come in, and they'd be very fascinated, and you know, just like George Harrison, you know they got lyrics from Srila Prabhupada's books and the things devotees said. So we knew that too, so we try to share, like for instance, in the Mahabharata, it's mentioned the Night Rangers, and there's a group called, I'm no expert in music, but there's some group that was called Night Ranger, Night Rangers. You're a musician, aren't you, Prabhu?
I don't remember Night Ranger, but I remember all the lyrics you basically just said there. I don't know if they all come from.
I can do more musically, I can sing it better, but I feel embarrassed in front of these and devotees. So I'm just keeping it low. So Krishna says, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Like in a college lecture, I would definitely sing it more with a microphone, you know what I mean? And they would probably sing along too. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively, render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you, for he has seen the truth. And Prabhupada admits in the purport, the path of spiritualization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. You know, it's really serious. I remember Prabhupada says, unless you're as pure as the Gajis, you shouldn't become a guru. He also said that if you cannot save your disciple from the material energy, you know, then it's illegal to become a guru. So it's very, very, very serious. The Vaishnavas are, Prabhupada said he was, you know, willing to go to hell. And one devotee asked Prabhupada, where will you go? And he said, I'll go to preach in the, you know, the hellish planets. Well, you know, I mean, you can imagine. Prabhupada's mercy is unlimited, like Gochitanya. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam says, Dharmam hi shakshat bhagavat panitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. You know, it is, I mean, you think about, you know, all of the disciples of martial arts masters also, and how they might be, even Buddhists would be beaten with a stick, to keep them awake in the mornings, like cane, the cane, and they appreciate it because it keeps them awake, But a lot of things can be very difficult. Just like, imagine being Srila Prabhupada's personal servant and being on call all the time, and being humble all the time. And imagine the kind of person it would take to be right there. You're in the hot seat, right there with Srila Prabhupada. You got to be on point. You got to be on point. You're getting just enough sleep, And just imagine there's surrender involved, and you think, can I do that long term? You admire people like that who can do that. But it's just like acting. If you're an actor, and I remember even in LA, we used to do, it was a beautiful temple to do big plays, big sound system, everything. And, it was fun, because I used to tell people, I get sick and tired of being Michael Lister, that's boring, So you get on stage, and all of a sudden you're a king or a soldier, some kind of devotee or whatever, you're involved in a Vaishnava play, entertaining the Vaishnavas, and so it's a relief. It's a relief to become someone else, for a little while even, So in other words, by becoming purified, like if you're a servant of Srila Prabhupada and you're getting all that purification, it's kind of like we're getting cleansed. Our material body's getting cleansed. And it's like we sort of forget, like, that I am this dead body. I'm actually, the more purified we become, the more happy we truly are, because we become more in tune with our true self, Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. One should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. So that's pretty interesting right there. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, one should not only hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. The next verse, and when you have thus learned the truth, you will know that all living beings are but part of me, and that they are in me and are mine. Imagine having that kind of vision about a spiritual master's blessing. Being able to see that actually all these souls, anything that eats, mates, sleeps, and defends, has life present. So, think about this. You can see bacteria with a microscope, but you can't see virus unless you've got an electron microscope. And it's still, the virus is still eating, mating, sleeping, defending. So there's got to be a soul present there. I believe Prabhu says there's billions of souls within just a square inch. Whew. It's so deep, it's so amazing, it's so beautiful. These are some notes from Prabhupada's lectures. Prabhupada says, proper receiving of the spiritual master goes to Krishna. Though we are in Los Angeles, we have nothing to do with the material world here. Agreeing to serve is liberation. Nobody wants to serve, everyone wants to be served. As we had our original independence, we could travel anywhere, just like yogis could dip down in a river and pop up again in another town or river. This formidable tongue, just for the tongue, they are slaughtering the poor animals. Prabhu says, just fry curd and you will get the same taste. If you think of your dogs all the time, if you think of your dogs at the time of death, then you will take birth as a dog. It says, don't go to the city. Maya is so strong. Commentators on Gita are sticking their noses into our business. You must be a devotee to understand Gita. Arjuna was not a Brahmin, not a yogi, not a jnani, not a sannyasi. He was simply a devotee. He was a kshatriya and even had 3 wives. Krishna spoke the Gita to his devotee. Prabhu said, I had 2 teachers as a child. He says that real religion and highest perfection of life is to learn to love God. That's beautiful. Real religion and the highest perfection of life is to learn to love God. It's so simple. We have to relearn to love God. And we're loving, that's why we exist. We're infinitesimal. Prabhupada says Krishna is infinite, but we're infinitesimal. We're so small. And what is our purpose? Our purpose is to serve. And why would we serve? I mean, there's always something that drives the soul onward. Is that loving propensity, that living force. We're so tiny. And of course, that's part of enlightenment, is the more we become self-realized, the more we understand I'm no better than anybody else. I should give all respect to all living entities. My false ego, especially Kali Yuga, might tell me differently, but actually, I'm no better than anybody else. Krishna says, and when you have thus learned the truth, you will know that all living beings are but part of me, and that they are in me and are mine. When there is order from Guru, then there is no more argument. Bhishmadev and his father wanted to marry a fisherman's daughter. And Bhishma means firmly fixed. Bhishmadev admitted that Krishna is the perfect brahmachari because he danced with all the young gopis and remained brahmachari. Therefore he is Harishikesha, means perfect brahmachari, master of the senses. If you control your tongue, you control your belly, and then you control the genitals. Control your anger, 6 kinds of control. Then he is fit to be a spiritual master and can make disciples all over the world. No talking nonsense, that should be controlled. Quote, I cannot eat anything that is not offered to Krishna. There are small things, these are small things, but they have great significance. You cannot see Krishna with the senses. You must have purified the senses. You may break my heart, but I will still love you, Krishna. Krishna said to the gopis that, quote, you have to be satisfied with your service because I cannot repay your love. I am not happy here in New York City, Prabhupada says, and I would be very happy back in Vrindavan, but I am duty-bound to my spiritual master. Therefore, I undergo many hardships. This is a good lecture. The conditioned soul has 4 defects: imperfect senses, in illusion, subject to commit mistakes, and the propensity to cheat others. Yet, so-called authorities present themselves as authorities, but because of these defects, he is simply cheating others. I am not presenting my knowledge, I am presenting Krishna's knowledge. That's Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said, I'm not presenting my knowledge, I am presenting Krishna's knowledge. And in Vedic culture, the leaders were always on the battlefield. People who do not know what is God, they think God is impersonal. But God is person. Anybody have any questions or comments? Prabhupada says, I cannot manufacture. Parampara means I cannot manufacture. Does anybody know what parampara means?
It's a fake cessation.
Have you ever heard of a devotee named Parampara? Have you ever heard of a devotee?
Oh, Parampara in Atlanta.
Yeah. You know Parampara Mataji? You ever heard of him?
No.
You know Parampara, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love Parampara. He's such a wonderful devotee. Any comments or questions, anybody?
I missed most of it. I really hated, but it was important, so I had to run. What was this in a nutshell?
What was the
Yeah,
verse?
yeah.
It was pretty simple. I'll read it to you, Mataji. It's very simple. Brahma, who was not born of a material source, but of the lotus flower coming out of the navel abdomen of the Lord, is the creator of all those who are materially born. Of course, by the grace of the Lord, Brahma was able to see the form of the Lord.
Is that a specific place that you saw personally? Did they call him, or did they explain that anymore?
Oh, well, the purport is a small purport. Want me to read that?
Yeah, if you can, please. I missed that.
Yeah, that's no problem at all. The first living creature, Brahma, is called Aja, because he did not take his birth from the womb of a mother materially born. He was directly born from the bodily expansion of the lotus flower of the Lord. Thus it is not readily understandable whether the body of the Lord and that of Brahma are of the same quality or different. This must also be clearly understood. One thing is, however, certain. Brahma was completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, because after his birth he could create living beings by the Lord's grace only, and he could see the form of the Lord. Whether the form seen by Brahma is of the same quality as that of Brahma is a bewildering question. And Maharaj Parikshit wanted to get clear answers from Srila Sukadeva Goswami. And then, of course, I read also about Lord Brahma. And
That's okay. I'll go back and try to look at it.
I read about Lord Brahma, and they mentioned Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. So after I read about Lord Brahma, then I read about Mother Saraswati. So it all tied in together. It's pretty nice.
Thank you for the book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all so much. Yeah, during these hard times. Yeah, I don't like to just read. I like to give class. I do. I really do. And sometimes I do that a lot more. I like that. But at the same time, I like to repeat exactly what Prabhupada says. So I don't mind sometimes being criticized if I read a little too much, because I like to repeat exactly what Prabhupada said, you know. But I also like to interact, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Give class, freestyle, you know. I like that too, you know.
And
I did a little bit of that today, didn't I?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And we like stories, so.
Stories. Oh, thank you for mentioning that. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, that's why we love stories.
You're absolutely right about that. As a matter of fact,
Sorry, I like a little.
no, you're absolutely right about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, come up with some stories.
Yeah.
Do some
But what kind of stories are you talking about?
relating to this. There's so
Really?
many stories. If say like Blood Brahma, you know, like that, you can come up with. If you look it up, you'll come up with
Yeah.
how he did so many different things. to see Krishna face to face, like that. So in
Yeah.
reference to this,
Yeah.
you can find
But
stories.
you're absolutely right,
I
because
don't know whether I'm right.
sometimes when you're on the road or something, and you give a lecture at a Indian family's house, in the end, sometimes you'll find out later that they'll mention, but we like to hear the pastimes of Krishna, you know what I mean?
And sometimes when you're free now, maybe I don't know, you're still working. Our Saturday class, Wednesday class. Wednesday class is like going to school. You have to remember what you heard.
Wednesday
The
class.
week before, Wednesday classes. I like, yeah, like going to school. I like that.
Yeah, she's a teacher though, right?
Yeah, so she repeats and make sure we understand. I like
Oh
that.
yeah, I don't mind doing
But the
that.
Saturday class is always like stories, Puranas.
Who gives that class?
Sarojini and her husband. Those two like
Oh,
born
okay.
in.
That's like, what was that like on Saturday?
Same thing, but
Yeah,
they will
that's-
come with stories about this
Okay.
in conjunction with that.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
absorbs a
that's
little better,
Yeah.
for me like a dull brain.
Dad, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Do you know how to put this away?
I do.
Okay, somebody has to do that, please.
You guys found the pioneer in there?
He might use it, he might not, but I think he did.
Okay, good.
He has some other things he's doing.